beyond. Welcome to day 22 of our Lenten meditation. We're going to begin with our recipe. Today's recipe is watermelon lemonade. Finally, the sun is out, spring is coming, and I just feel like I need to get out of the winter COVID doldrums. So let's begin. You're going to need fresh lemon. You're going to need watermelon. This is brown sugar, water, and a strainer. You're going to need a strainer. You're also going to need to heat up your water on the stove, and you're going to need your trusty, dusty blender. And so let's begin. We're going to begin. We need 7 cups of cold water. We need to bring them to boil on the stove. So I'm going to turn my stove on rather high heat to get this boiling. So 7 cups cold water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Ooh, almost had it right. So I'll set that aside. I'm going to do 1.5 cups of raw sugar. And again, we use raw sugar because processed sugar isn't good for you. And so you can use brown sugar. I would suggest raw sugar for a recipe like this. So 1.5 cups of raw sugar. And I knew that was just about what was in here. And so I'm going to go into my canister to get the rest of my raw sugar. 1.5 cups. Put that directly in your water. And I'm going to get the rest from here. Actually, I need 1/2 cup. Put it in. Now, here's another key. You will need about, let's say, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. But we want rough salt, what I call rough salt. So 1/4 teaspoon. And so here we go. This is that kosher salt that I've used in other recipes. 1/4 teaspoon. And so now, just going to kind of stir that together. And bring it to a boil. While that is boiling, we're going to I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way. We are going to take our watermelon. Again, I'm being careful to slice it. Now, watermelon isn't in season right now. And so, you're not going to get the best like you would in the summertime. But it's good enough for what we're getting ready to do. And so what you want to do, of course, is to cut it out of the rind, but to just, chunk it to get it out of the rind. Because we can use pieces of the rind for garnish once we get it done. You don't have to get it that close. You don't have to worry. Because again, you're going to use these pieces. You want to cut it up into smaller chunks as you put it into the blender because it will juice better. if it's in smaller chunks. I'm just going to take this off now and put the things in here. I'm just using half of a medium size, well, I wouldn't even say medium size. I would say smaller size watermelon, because again, you don't want to invest too much. This is just a hopeful point to summer. And so you're not going to get the sweetest and the best watermelon right now. So we're going to make smaller chunks. Put it in our blender. Let the blender do the work of juicing. Got one more piece to get done. And again, save the rind, particularly if you're gonna serve it to yourself. You can get a mason jar and a straw, and you can take cut up small pieces of the rind and put it in your juice, your lemonade, to garnish it. Make it look pretty. Or you can toss it. Now there are some people who literally pickle the rind and use it for garnishes that way. I'm not going to do that. The next thing you want to do once this has completely juiced is you want to pour it through a strainer, because you'll have seeds, you'll have pulp, and you don't want to do that. You want clear lemonade. So we just shake it through the strainer. And if you can see this is all the stuff that comes out of it once you strain it, and you don't want that in your watermelon. So right now I'm just going to set that aside, put that in here, and I'm going to take the juice and put it in the pitcher that I used to water in. That's good. Get that in the sink. And now we're going to get to our watermelon. If you're like me, I got to get this stuff out of my whip. I'm checking on my water and sugar and salt. Not yet boiling, but looks pretty good over here. So now I'm going to set the rind aside until I decide to use that later. Oops. So I keep plenty of cutting boards around. Now you're going to take the juice of about 8 lemons and use that to also form the basis of your lemonade. And the reason we heat up the sugar in the water is to help it dissolve better. So literally, I have 8 lemons out here and a very standard handheld juicer. Just cut the lemons in half and juice them. Now in your juicer, all seeds, pulp, all that's going to come out. Now the thing about when you juice a lemon, you get about maybe a tablespoon out of each lemon. You're not going to get a lot. Don't expect a lot. You can cheat. Let me get a different knife too. You can cheat and buy lemon juice, but then it's not fresh. We want homemade stuff. Stuff we can trust. Stuff we can count on. And so, I don't think you want to watch me go through each one of these. But you can see that's about the juice of 2 lemons. So I'm going to keep cutting my water and sugar mixture. Still not boiling yet, but it's on the stove. It's continuing to go. This is a good way to strengthen your arms. So while we're waiting, let me know if you decide whether or not you're going to take the vaccine. Send me a message in the comment section and let me know. Let me know what you think. I have taken mine. Yesterday I've gotten my 2nd shot. I took the Pfizer, the 2-shot Pfizer. Just let me know. Interesting conversation. We want to get to a place where we can safely get back in the church. I want to make sure we've done all we can. So your vaccinations count towards helping me make that decision. So if you don't mind, let me know. Right now, again, that's the juice of about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lemons. I'm going to pour that in. And I pour it directly into the watermelon mixture. Now, some of the seeds went in there too. I'm just not concerned about that. I'm more concerned about pulp than I am the juice. And still waiting. And I don't readily discard the juiced lemons because I may decide I need more juice and I'll have to squeeze a little bit more out of it. Hope you all are enjoying and praying and getting closer to God in your meditations and in your quiet time. Again, I appreciate all the feedback I'm getting. It is wonderful. We thank God. Ooh, this is a stubborn lemon. And so now we're down to our last one. And see how we're doing. Yep. Last half. I'm pretty sure we're going to need more lemon juice. That's okay. I'm going to pour it again directly into the cup. And just mix that all together. You should have not a bright red color, but a bright pink color. And again, I'm just going back through to get as much lemon juice out of these lemons as I can. I advise you to do the same because you don't want to waste the lemon. You can use some of them also as a garnish. So you can use, ooh, that was a lot. You can use the lemon rind as slices. You can zest them, meaning that you just grate them a little bit. But you just want to make sure you're using everything to the fullest, to the best. There we go. Okay. That's good. That water is boiling, so I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes. And then we'll come back, mix it all together, and then pour a drink. See what it tastes like. Okay, guys, this is what the boiled water with the raw sugar looks like. It's browner because the sugar is brown. It's not white because it's not processed. And after I strained the watermelon and put the juice of the lemons in it, I strained it again so I could get more of the pulp out and more of the seeds. So I'm really just going to mix these two together. And you can see the color changing right now in front of you. And so I've taken my glass, filled it with ice, filled it with 2 slices of the lemon and a couple of pieces of watermelon rind. Now actually, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator to let it cool, but I gotta taste it now. Just going to pour a little bit in just so you can get a glimpse of what it should look like. And then I'm going to pour the rest back in here. Even though it's warm, I'm going to set it in the refrigerator. Ooh, made a lot more. I'll put the rest in here. And there you have it. Watermelon lemonade. Hope you enjoyed it. All told, it takes about 30 minutes between the cutting, between the boiling, between the straining. It's just a little more involved. You want the sugar to melt than for you to put it in cold water. And so here we go. Hopefully it tastes good. Oh yeah. Let's get ready for our hymn and our meditation. Bon appetit. We're going. let's begin our meditation. Again, you are sitting comfortably, either sitting upright in a chair or you are laying across your bed or some surface, as long as your back is straight and as long as you are comfortable. Remember, if your thoughts wander, it is okay. Just as soon as you catch yourself, just bring yourself back to the amazing gift of your breathing. And so we begin with a deep breath in, eyes open, out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Gently closing your eyes. And there it is, that amazing breath. The rising and falling of the chest or stomach. The definite expansion and contraction of the lungs. Focusing on the natural rhythm. Feeling the weight of your body in your seat or on whatever surface you are on. Understanding the reality of where you are, the reality of your presence. Continuing to focus on your breath. And now you experience the light, that warmth, that brightness that shines all around you and through you. It is a part of you, and you understand it to be God's presence and God's love. And so with that light, we enter into the inner court and we go directly to the table of showbread. We know the loaves that are on the table before us are definitely ours to handle and touch. We are the priests of the table. And so we have beheld the everlasting covenant in the first loaf. We've understood provision in the second loaf. The gift of life in the third loaf. The co-union of the fourth loaf. The wine and the blood of the fifth loaf, and the bread as cup on the sixth loaf. And so today, the seventh loaf, when you pick up that loaf, you notice it's broken. And how is it broken? How do you imagine the brokenness? Is it cut in half evenly as with a knife? Is it broken, torn, with a jagged edge on each side of the loaf? Is there one piece bigger than the other? Is an end broken and the majority of the loaf intact? How do you see the brokenness of the loaf? And as we look at the two pieces of the broken bread, it is not our brokenness. This loaf is what happened when the miracle occurred and the bread was broken and shared with the 5,000. This brokenness is not about pain. It is about sharing. It is about breaking yourself into something that can be shared. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took bread and he broke it. And we often look at that as if his brokenness is a representation of what's going to happen to him, the horror, the tragedy. But what if it's not that? It is the breaking of his body, his literal self, to be shared. That you can't share yourself if you maintain a whole piece of yourself or the whole of yourself. That how you break the bread might be how you share in this world. Maybe you share exactly half of yourself. Maybe you share more of yourself. Maybe you share less of yourself. And so the smaller piece, if there is one, is either you and you share the bigger piece with everyone else, or the bigger piece is you and you share very little with everyone else. You are the priest. You decide how that loaf is broken. How are you sharing? Maybe there's not enough wholeness for you to share just yet. But whatever you have, understand the gratitude of the people you do share, whatever percentage of that loaf. We would not be the same without how much you share. And we have no idea how much that is. But we are grateful that you share yourself with us at all. Understand what you share. This loaf is broken, but you get to imagine the brokenness, the sharing. And the best part of that miracle of 2 loaves and 5 fish was that all of the broken pieces were gathered up. Not a piece was left behind. And so what you share is never wasted. It's all caught up and gathered. How is your loaf broken? How much do you share? How much is right for you to share? None of you is wasted. We return now to the breath. Deep breath in, out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Gently opening the eyes. Grace and peace.